I wanted to really quickly sort of introduce my co-host, my lovely co-host, Angela Entzminger. Did I say that?
Yeah, first try. Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Woo!
Good job, Bobby.
Yes. Woo! Angela Entzminger. I was gonna bring you up. I was gonna bring that up in the thing, but I forgot about it. But Angela is a storyboard revisionist on the Loud House at Nickelodeon. Well, I love that show.
Thank you.
But Angela started out as a production assistant, worked her way up to a production coordinator, and has been doing storyboard revisions early this year. So she's the sort of the example that we look towards of just kind of like working your way up, making it happen. I'm sure, Angela, I'm simplifying it. I'm sure you've talked to a ton of people. I'm sure you worked your ass off, but you've done it, and
Yep.
so and bigger things to come after this. So
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ooh, Angela.
Angela, yo. And then Angela, do you wanna introduce Taylor? I could do it.
Sure. Well, if you'd like to do it, you can do it. If you'd like me to do it,
You're my guest host.
all right. So we have with us today the wonderful and talented Taylor K. Shaw. So as many of you know, but just in case you don't, Taylor is the creator, writer, producer, and founder of Black Women Animate, which is a fantastic organization. And the purpose of the organization is to change the world of animation by providing innovative Black women, women of color, non-binary artists with access to the resources that we need in order to control and create their own narratives. And her work is changing the landscape with how artists of color are represented. And we are very excited to have you here. So thank you, Taylor, for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me. I am a huge fan of Rise Up. Like you said, Bobby, it's time for us to change the world for our peoples. So a huge fan of Rise Up, Bobby, you and your work, and Angela, you as well. I don't know if y'all see, but Angela has some of her work in the background there.
Cool.
Some of mine and some other people's. So yeah, love decorating the house with art.
Yeah. So that's great. I think I see somebody ask where I got my shirt from. My mom bought me this shirt, so I'm gonna have to ask her.
Oh yeah.
It has writer facts, and it's kind of like nutritional facts of a writer. So. So there we go. But yeah, I'm so happy to be talking to y'all. As I thought about this, I wanted to share the very first Black women anime kind of photo that was taken at Genesis of it, because I thought, where's the best place to start? Here, I just had it up. 1 second. So yeah, let's see if y'all can see. Can you see that? No, it's not.
Oh yeah, that's good.
4 beautiful ladies in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And so the company started because I was writing a Black girl version of the Boondocks.
Oh, that's good.
And I was like, okay, this is gonna be so, I'm a writer and creator myself, and I was like, okay, this is gonna be so easy. I have this great idea. I'm gonna find a Black woman animator, and I'm gonna find a few, and we're gonna have a whole team, and we're gonna make this show, and it's gonna be easy. And then you know what, y'all? I couldn't find one Black female animator. And I see 124 people on this call. So obviously we exist and we're out there and we're talking to you, Angela. And Bobby, I hadn't even ever seen like a man of color animator or even thought about it. So really, that's how we kicked off. It was like with that show idea and just thinking about, okay, as an activist and advocate, like how do we build equity in this particular space? Because there's so many talented, Black female artists, and now we work with them.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
That's awesome. I wanted to, before we get into Black Women Animate, Taylor, I really wanted to, because I've been listening some interviews with you like earlier today, and one of the things I wanted to sort of like know, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
is kind of like where did you, Taylor, grow up, and were you always writing and creating stories when you were young?
Yeah, that's such a great question. That's such a great question. Thanks, Bobby. So I am a Southside Chicago gal. Very proud of my Chi-Town roots, but I kind of grew up all over Chicago. And growing up, I did write. My sister is actually a rapper, so I didn't take a musical route, but we used to like write songs in the hallway of my like godmother
Whoa, that's rad.
together and sing. I still remember some of the songs I wrote when I was like 7, but I definitely will not sing them right now. Um, so yeah, so always writing, but never being conscious that like that was something that I did. I just did it. It wasn't like a thing that you do as a job. That didn't register for me really young. So anyway, growing up all around Chicago, creating stories, loving animation and cartoons, and I always felt like I was always looking for myself in whatever cartoons I was watching. Like even Jasmine, like we're not the same, ethnicity, but I'm like, oh, she's brown. So I'm like Jasmine, or, HBO's Happily Ever After, and like how they switched up all of the fables and, like that as a kid for me, I didn't realize it, but I was like really trying to find myself. So yeah, so I grew up in Chicago. I'm a Chicago girl, kind of all over the city. I see I see a couple Southside people in here. That's Jaslyn, Melissa. Yes, yes.
Dang, they came out. They came out. Taylor,
Out,
represent for you, man.
out. So yeah, I've spent most of my life in Chicago, high school, college as well. I went to college near Chicago. There's Chicago people here, so I don't know if anybody went to Northwestern, but I went to Northwestern University and studied journalism and creative writing there. Because in college is when I realized that writing was a thing. Like I realized that all my poems that I was writing in the notes on my iPhone, that was actually like something I could do as a job. Oh, nice. Okay, Emily. Yep, Northwestern. There we go. Okay, but yeah, that's where I'm from, Bobby.
Yeah. And then, so I know that you majored in journalism, and then when you graduated, you're like, nah, I don't really want to do this.
Whew, yeah. So yeah, imagine just like getting we're artists in here, so I'm sure other people have a similar story, but getting that degree, and right before I got that degree, I was like, I don't want to be a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I want to work in TV. And so right after, getting the journalism degree, what led me to animation was looking at television. So I had worked on a couple of show sets in Chicago, reality TV, which was super interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple of scripted things. So I worked in Chicago and Atlanta for a bit on different shows. And what I noticed there was a lack of representation in leadership. Like I worked on one show that is well known, like in the Black community and probably in general, with the really famous like A-list celebrity actress. And there was no Black people working behind the scenes, like none. And I was shocked. I just assumed, that I would see like a Black, scripty or like camera operators. So anyway, made my way to New York. Long story short, and I had that one show idea, and so from really noticing like in my different media experiences, because I work in a couple different mediums, learning from those experiences that Black women aren't in positions of leadership or visible, and animation is like the place where it's the most evident. So I guess I'm the type of person that's like, I want to do the hardest thing possible. Because I did not know when I started on the journey how hard it was going to be. So yeah, y'all know this, but there's even fewer, Black women of color in positions of leadership in animation. And that's what we're all building towards. But But yeah, the jump from journalism to animation for me is all about, it was really about a labor of love and like where I could really best place, honestly, my heart and energy. And it felt like animation was the best place to do that, because journalism for me, I'm kind of disillusioned with it, to be honest. I didn't feel I didn't feel like this is where I can really make an impact, and support art and support like creatives, because I am in awe of all of the, you know, the artists that we work with, and what, you know, y'all are able to output. Like I can say as a writer and like creator what I want to see, but I'm not drawing it. I'm not animating it. So I'm really impressed with artists, and I want to support them.
That is excellent that you're able to get started with that. And I'm really curious how you went about forming your organization, because I know that you work with, you know, you found some very talented people and y'all have worked together. So what was that process like?
Yeah, totally. So it really started out as kind of like a community group. I showed y'all that first picture. It was like those first few ladies who were working with me on that show. And then it just quickly began to grow. You know, in New York, we did a couple of events. And through those events, I really started to notice and see how many Black women there are who are in animation, who are designers, who are just super talented creatives. And so from there, I recognized we're just in talking to them like, hey, how's work going for you? They're like, oh, I'm in between jobs. Oh, it's really hard for me to get a job in animation. Oh, you know, I think I have to work all these other different jobs in order for me to have the resources to like fund my art. And so I said, hey, what if I started a company where you all could get jobs to animate? Um, and they said, yeah, great, start the company, hire me. So really, you know, that's how BWA started. It started from those first few like community gatherings and meetings that we did, and then me speaking to women and saying, well, what do you need? You're so talented. It's not because of a lack of talent that you don't have work. It's just a lack of like opportunities. So that's how the company started. Really, the root of it was speaking one-on-one with a lot of different artists and being aware of what their needs were and wanting to support them.
Excellent. That's good to know. Yeah, and that's awesome too, that I like how it started grassroots. Like I love how it was, you know, it wasn't this weird corporate thing. It was starting with people where they were at and actually getting to know people that were already involved in the space.
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better. I couldn't say it any better. Yeah, it was super grassroots and very personal. And we're in year 3 of, you know, the business now, and I would say it's still that way, still super intimate. I'm, you know, as a founder and CEO, researching and reaching out to a lot of artists a lot of the time myself, and we're building team and getting more support. But I really care about talent, especially emerging talent. And I know that's what I love about Rise Up too. And so yeah, it's an intimate endeavor for me, because I also, you know, you all have worked in a bunch of different corporate jobs. I care about artists and people's like emotional health and well. It's all so important, and it honestly makes the art better when people have the space to just like relax and you know, feel great about it. So yeah, that's kind of our ethos as a company.
Excellent. Very cool.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
I want to ask Taylor too, like, you know, as I research more into Black women animate, and we're doing this now, a huge part, an essential part of like Black women animate is centered around the sense of community, which is, I mean, like, you know, no one asked you to do this, but you're doing it anyway. And so, a Black woman animate is centered around a sense of community, has a strong sense of community always been a part of your life? Like, where does that come from? I'm curious. You know,
Yes,
just
yes,
from your origin story. Let's tap
yes,
into your origin story.
yes. Origin
Yes,
story,
where your superpowers began.
yes. Yeah, I love that question. Yeah, totally. Community is like who I be, like who I am. A strong sense of community has always been a part of my life because so many people invested in me, like so many people invested in me from childhood on. So many people gave me chances. Um, you know, there's always somebody in my corner say, Taylor, like you can. My whole like no one has ever told me that I could not do something. And for me, the power in that is knowing that I can give that to somebody else, because I know that there are a lot of artists who people tell them, oh, like you can't do that. You can't have that career. You shouldn't try to do that because, you've never done it before. Like, no, do it. You can do it. And so for me, like as a kid, I've been blessed enough to always go to like the best schools. And I went to the best schools, not because my parents could afford that, but because like people said, she's going to go to that school. We're going to pay for her to go there. Genuinely, like my elementary school paid for a part of my high school tuition because I went to private school. And me knowing that and me seeing that and people articulating to me like, hey, I'm doing this for you because I believe in you. Like I'm supporting this way because I believe you. I know you can do whatever you put your mind to. That sense of community, and like I honestly get like physically emotional when I see young girls and they say like, this is what I want to do. I'm like, you are going to do that. Like in this moment, you said it, it's happening. Don't let anyone deter you from making it a reality for yourself. And when you're ready, like you can work at BWA Studios. That's really the goal, is for all of these girls and dreams and the emerging talent that's on this call, like for them, when they're ready to be able to have a space where they can thrive and work, and where we actually care about your growth and development and your long-term, place in the industry. So to answer your question, Bob, because I just went around in a whole circle.
No, that's great.
To answer your question, there are so many people that poured into me, from school principals to family members to, my friends' parents. Like there's so many people that have gone out of their way to support me. Even today, I feel like when things get hard, because we're a startup, so things, are challenging sometimes, and it gets hard, and there's a lot of things that you got to just figure out. But I have a support system around me that is like, nope, Taylor, you can do it. Like, so with that support, it's like I'm so grounded that I can keep going, and I have the energy to do that because there's other people lifting me up. And I think that's so important for us to start to bring into the industry, just like that support. If we really want to see change, we have to genuinely care about people and support them. And so I'm just modeling what I've been given, really, especially from my mother. And I have to also say, like, our managing partner, J. Love Calderon, like, she really supports me. So I've been blessed to have examples of people showing like, hey, this is how you really support people. And then for me to have, the ability and capacity to model that, I feel very blessed. And I feel like it's what I should do. Like it's what we all should do. When you can, you should help. You should help somebody else, and you should think about your neighbor.
Right. And
Yeah.
That's so great. And that is so true. It's like if everybody just helped one other person, just everybody would be helped. And that's so awesome how much you're giving back and helping other people and just being that hand to like help them up. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate that. It's interesting too, right? Because we are a studio and we're growing, and most studios don't operate in this way, or don't speak about like the work that they do in this way. Like the mission of our company is very much so tied to the work. And I very much so believe that the quality and scope of the work changes when you have these values aligned. with the work that you're doing.
Ooh, I'm ready to ask this question because
Oh, I know he is. He's like very excited about this.
I heard a lot of interviews with you so far, but when it comes to the topic of artists forging their own paths, your mantra and something that you've stuck by closely is the phrase "owning the table," right? Which I think is great. Owning the table. Can you speak what owning the table for everybody means to you?
Yeah. First of all, I just want to say, Bobby, like you did your homework. That's good. I mean, yes, Bobby.
Yeah, I love it.
Good. That's so
Owning
good.
the table, man. I love that phrase. I love it. I love it. I love that phrase. And I just wanted to know what it meant to you in the broad sense.
Yeah, totally. Owning the table for me means going beyond this idea of just giving people a seat at the table. Like it's mean really having people have a stake at the table. So if you are one of these like big studios or corporations, like ownership, like who has a stake at the table, and yes, that is like a bit of representation, but it's also equity. Like how are we building equity in the industry? And so what I am personally doing, and what we are doing at BWA, and trying to really have the people who work with us play a part in owning the table, is that equity, like building equity. So one day when I am not, the founder and CEO, well, when I am the founder, but when I'm not the CEO of BWA Studios, one day, like that whoever's holding it, is holding ownership within this larger industry for community. Like, ownership is just having a piece and a stake of the pie. And for us, what that looks like is having ownership yourself. So like we are a Black-owned company, like having ownership yourself. And I would say like for all of the artists on this call, ownership is taking ownership of your work, um, and being proud of it, and also building with those around you, and building something where you all own something, owning your own IP, being really like proud of that, and just putting out what you want to see in the world, like own that table. So there's people all over the world on this call. Like we have such a wide range of experiences, and the likelihood is that for some people your story has not been told, it's not out there. Tell it. Own that table, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because a challenge in entering the industry, like animation as a company for us is, there are giants in animation who have been doing it for a long time, and we work with them, and we support them, and we're supported by some of them, but we still have to lay the groundwork and the foundation of our studio, and it takes something. It takes a lot of sweat. It really takes something. And so owning the table, though, like why ownership is so important to me, and why it's so important to me that that I as a Black woman own a studio. It's so that other Black girls know, like, you can do this. You can own a company, a notable company that is doing something and producing really awesome content in the world. And so my hope is that we're just able to put out really dope kids and adult content that people can say like, yo, like they're owning the table, and not just to own it. I don't want to own anything just to own it. I want it to be an example to say that is possible. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome. What do you think, Angela?
I think that's great. Yeah, I want to ask this next one because I love this. So we were talking about this before panel started, but Black Women Animate and Rise Up Animation have a lot of the same goals, and a very important one for you is encouraging underrepresented aspiring artists to tell their stories.
Mhm.
So you kind of answered that a little bit, but if you could go into even more detail of why that's so essential to you.
Yeah, is supporting, and you're asking like supporting underrepresented artists and telling their stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, that's so important to me because you have to see one, like yourself on television. I believe we all watch TV, and I think so much of our worth and value is tied to that. If you just never see yourself, or you see yourself in a limited capacity, you question your value. And two, it's important to know that you have options. So a great example is like Doc Mcstuffins, right? Doc Mcstuffins, you know, she's this little girl who is a doctor, and from that they had a whole campaign where Black female doctors came together, and they do like interstitials after the Doc Mcstuffins show with those Black female doctors, and they like go out to the community and let girls know that they can be doctors. And so I think this comedian Kamal Bell, if I'm not mistaken, Kamal, his daughters believe that all doctors are Black women. Which is, so he made the funniest joke. He's like, my doctor saw a white male doctor. She was like, oh, what is this? So anyway, it's just important for kids to know, like, you have options, and you can be you can be anything you want. You can imagine yourself as different things. You know, it's important for underrepresented artists to tell their stories, because your truth is so powerful, and you can literally, there's so many people like you. It might feel like an isolating experience, like if you don't know anyone in your immediate circle like you, but there are so many people like you. And so if you tell your story, then you empower so many other people who are out there in the world just like you. And I think we see that with creators like Rebecca Sugar, and you know, there's so many awesome people who might not have had who might not have had, you know, who might not be able to see out there in the world, like content and things that totally resonate with them, or I should say, better yet, like there might be a gap in what's out there, and like you can fill that gap with your own niche lived experience.
Right. I hope you guys don't mind me like jumping outside of the realms of the format a little bit, but like in lieu of recent events from the Rise Up Discord server, Taylor, we have a Discord server of Rise Up animation applicants, and who are there to support each other, and it's beautiful, it's amazing and inspiring, and they share their feedback from mentors with each other, and they kind of help each other, all in the sort of goal to break into the animation industry. So one question that I keep seeing in my mind is from that Rise Up Discord server is from Trisha. She says, do you feel that the animation industry is more willing to genuinely hear Black stories in light of the Black Lives Matter movement?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the answer is yes. And I wish that it was coming from a different place. Like, I wish that it was something that was you know, they just recognize as a whole, as an industry, we just recognize like, hey, this should be happening. But the reality is sometimes it takes an uprising to really wake everybody up. And so, yes, for sure, there are many ways in which the Black Lives Matter movement is shifting our world and space. And I can speak to that personally because of the outpouring of you know, inquiries that we get. And from, I mean, from some, you know, some large companies, some smaller ones, but definitely because of what is going on, like people have come to look for us and look to hire us because they're either awakening, or sometimes they want to look good. And so we, as a company that's, in always looking to be in integrity, we just discern like whose intentions and values are really aligned with what we do, because that's just really important to me to keep with what we are building, because we were building this before the uprising.
I know, yeah.
So it's really interesting to see like what type of I'll just say inquiries, like what type we get. But yeah, for sure, that's a great question. And yeah, it's the truth. Like more people are looking to do more because of it. And it happens. We're also in a pandemic too. So yeah, we've been calling it the pandemic revolution.
Yeah.
That is appropriate, yes.
Yeah.
Angela, if you don't mind me asking too, like how have you, in this sort of weird upside down times in the pandemic and sort of everything with George Floyd and everything recently, it just never stops. How are you dealing with these, or like how do you, as an artist or as a person?
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough. I'll be real. It's really hard because as a Black woman, as a Black person, just as a person, some days it's really hard to work because, on the one hand, I'm very thankful to have a job. I work with a very good team. I work at very friendly people, very understanding people. But sometimes it feels really weird to, you're drawing cartoons about happy kids. Meanwhile, people are out there dying. And it's a very bizarre disconnect a lot of times. And honestly, it's going to sound a little weird, but just diving into the truth helps. Like for me personally, I know everybody has to handle it in their own way, and that's 100% valid and legitimate. But for me, refusing to ignore what's going on helps. So donating to organizations helps. Supporting friends that are protesting helps. Like volunteering with Rise Up. I recently, Nickelodeon had a virtual job fair. Like volunteering with the job fair helps. Talking to other people of color, not only Black women and Black men, just talking to students right now helps. Just letting people know that yes, this time right now is difficult and it's going to be difficult for a while, but we can fight this. That really helps, taking a break can help because it's tough. But I think if there's a good thing out of this, if there's a silver lining out of like all the trauma and pain, is that it finally caused people to wake up and pay attention. And there's a lot of people who have known this has been going on for hundreds of years, who have been shouting from the rooftops, hey, this is a problem. And other people are finally starting to realize, oh, you're right, it is a problem. And they're starting to help. And that's why, that's why we fight. That's why we help. And it's tough. And this is kind of a sidebar, but kudos to everybody who graduated this year during all of this. I can't imagine how this must feel for you guys to, 2020 was going to be your year, and to be in the middle of an epidemic like this has got to be so earth-shattering and weird. And so, we support all of you, and we are here for you, and we want to make sure that you guys rise up as well. So, it's tough, but, just day by day, you do the best you can. You call your mom. I call my mom a lot. Call your mom, call your dad, talk to your family, let them know you love them.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have no space to talk about this in the way that you guys should share your opinions, but a lot of what we try to do right with animation is amplify, Angela and Taylor, your voices And I'm not necessarily going to come on as a moderator to be an expert on how to moderate conversations like these. But our biggest thing would be to just give you a platform to speak about it and speak about your opinions. And I think that's what we're trying to do. And so with with
Yeah.
Taylor coming on and Angela coming on, I know this is one of these panels that was just kind of like, I'm gonna be a fly on the wall and just kind of listen, and sort of, hear, hear Black stories. I mean, like I can be comfortable with saying that, or just kind of hear Black stories, hear Black struggles, and I think a lot of studios want to do that, but I think they're too big and too I don't know if they can make moves quickly, but we can because we're small. So we can amplify your voice, Taylor. We can amplify your voice, Angela, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna continue to do that. So I think, do you have a heart out, Taylor? Really?
No, I don't. Yeah, I can
Okay.
totally do. Yeah, I don't.
It's like 4 o'clock in the morning in New York City. Where do you want to go? And do you want to go to the boot camp event? Do you want
Yes,
to go to
yes, definitely want to talk to you about the Black Women Animate Bootcamp, your partnership with Cartoon Network, because that is awesome. So just if you'd share with the people, how did that come about? Because that is an amazing thing.
Ooh, yes. So the boot camp, excuse me, the boot camp. So our company's broken up into a few divisions. One's original content, one is production services, the commercial work for hire, and the other is training and development. And so the boot camp falls under training and development. We really, believe and are working towards building a sustainable pipeline of talent into the industry. When I say talent, of course, I mean Black women, women of color, non-binary folks of color. And so the boot camp is really an opportunity for us to have folks, build skills, build their industry acumen, and also for us to build community. So the last 2 years pre-pandemic, there's been about 200-ish. We really pushed the number. Thank you, Cartoon Network. But there's about 200-ish folks, women and girls, non-binary folks, older, younger. Like we don't discriminate on who attends, allies as well. It's not. Nothing we do is exclusive. We just really make sure to put Black women first. And so anyway, that day is so beautiful and important for us, and our managing partner J Love and I thought it was important because you don't see it. And what I also found when I started doing this work is a lot of the artists that I knew were the only person that graduated, in their only, Black women that graduated from their school in animation, or the only one in their year. And it's getting, I think the enrollment's getting better. But it's so important for folks to just see yo, I'm not the only one, or I'm not the only person with this interest. Oh my gosh. And so I know so many friendships have bonded and formed out of the boot camp. I love going on. I'm such a I know so many people's Instagram, so many artists Instagram. So all of my artists see that they're friends, and I'm so happy. But yeah, so the boot camp is an opportunity really to model, for the industry, this is what the pipeline is. These people are it. And let's give them the space to just be in Cartoon Network. Not everybody gets that opportunity to sit in workshops and panels in a really cool space like that. And so yeah, that's what the bootcamp is all about. We have some really cool speakers and panels. And we, the last year, the theme was directing the future. I really wanted to focus in on directing. Especially because there's so many, dope Black directors in animation. Like, of course, y'all have featured Peter Ramsey, and there's so many. So just getting that visibility out there. There was a big focus on storyboarding last year. And this year, this year is going to be virtual, y'all. Virtual.
Right.
But the theme is honoring our stories. And so we are partnering with Cartoon Network again. And thanks to all of our sponsors last year and the folks who are coming on to sponsor this year. And so I'll share more, we'll share more details about it, because this year is going to be extra special. But yeah, that's really where we're headed. And this year I really want us to be focusing on, with the boot camp, on storytelling. So yeah.
Sorry. What I like about the boot camp, really, Taylor, from what I've seen, is it's got the, like Taylor said, it's the skills, which is super important, right? I mean, like, we're always talking about like the foundation skills, right? Even in Rise Up, and then there's the skills, and then there's the kind of business acumen, like that what Taylor like touches on, which goes into kind of like how you pitch, how like everything of like how you sort of interact with the industry, which is great. Business acumen, and then also the last one is what's the last one? The pitch, business acumen, and sort of the
The community, community building.
Sorry, yes. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word. Community, which is a huge for BWA. It's huge. So I think that's the biggest thing that I mean, let us know. That's gonna pan out for like 2020. But community, yes, for sure.
Yes, November. Look out for November.
And
Yeah.
And then let's see. What do you think? How you doing on time, Tay?
Yeah, I'm good on time. I'm good on time. I'm good to stay on and take questions or any comments, anything. Yeah.
What do you think, Ange?
Yeah, doing good. Hey, Bobby, do you want to go over to the Q&A, because we have quite a few questions, not just from the Discord server, but from people in the chat too.
Oh yeah, right on. So Angela and Taylor, we have a Rise Up Discord server, who is super supportive. They're like 1,000 strong, and what up, Rise Up server? And they submitted a few questions for us to, and hopefully you can enlighten us on. But from the Rise Up Discord server, Trisha asks, do you feel that the animation industry is more willing to genuinely hear Black stories in light of the Black Lives Matter movement? What do you think?
Yes. For sure. Yeah. I think, or you gonna say, Angela?
Oh, I think, Bobby, I think you already asked that. And we're also seeing that in the chat. And I mean, you can answer it again if you like, but I think we already answered Trisha's question.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Oh, that's okay. That's all right.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
There is honestly a lot to say about that question.
Yeah, that's all good. Let's go to Garnet's next here. So Garnet was asking, what are some of your favorite things about being the CEO of Black Women Animate, and things that just make you feel fulfilled in your work as well as motivated for the future?
Ooh, yes, that is such a great question. That's a really great question. Wow, that's a great question. My favorite thing about being CEO of BWA. There's so much that gets done in the day-to-day of running a startup studio, and for me, like, I really think it's important for us to invest in emerging talent. That means hiring them, but that also means like making sure that they get the support that they need to succeed. So setting people up for success. So what's really exciting for me is when people get a big opportunity or just an opportunity for the first time, and they see themselves and like they see that they can do it and they can deliver and they get that confidence to keep going. Like, that is probably one of my favorite things, is when people are like, wow, this is a challenge for me, and it's good. One of our storyboard artists right now, Chelsea, is actually on, and Chelsea's like, most definitely. But Chelsea's doing a really big board right now. But yeah, like, when they get that moment of, I am this artist that I say I am. And to me, it is so important to say that you are, even before you really feel like embody it. And so what's big for me as the CEO of BWA is seeing people own their art and seeing them own, like, I am this creative person. That's really big for me, because that's what it's about. And it's really, honestly, the day-to-day is pretty fast. And so, a lot of those like moments happen, but when they're able to really register with me and I'm able to like get that text and read it and just process it and say, this is what it's about, that means everything. And so I feel really blessed to provide that opportunity for other people. And yeah, it motivates me to keep going. And find ways to scale so we can work with more folks and hire more artists to really launch their careers. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then, which was the last one you asked?
Oh, Basila had one. She wanted to know if companies typically reach out to BWA members for work, or is it mostly open calls that you share with your members?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as a studio, companies hire us and then we hire talent. And so the best way, like if you're looking to get hired for a job with us, the best way to do that is to, email studio@bwastudios.com. Everything's on the website, bwastudios.com. But that's how it works with us, because we are a studio. But I think there's a couple other, like organizations that folks reach out to for work. I think like Women in Animation, and I don't know if people reach out to y'all, Rise Up. They probably do, but recruiters at different places, that you get in contact with them. But yeah, folks reach out to us for projects, and we have our own database of talent. And so, people can get in that database if they would like.
Awesome.
Good to know.
Yeah. Taylor, how are you feeling? You all right?
I feel good. I can do.
One hour in.
Yeah, 1 hour. I feel good. I feel like we're just warming up.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Okay, cool. That's good.
We're gonna dip into the Q&A questions. So Lissa says, as a Black female animator, my fear is to be the last voice of input in the room.
Yeah.
Also, the subconscious fear of seeming aggro, even though it's a simple input. How do you navigate this especially when it comes time for Black women, especially in this time, it seems Black women are simply fighting for themselves.
They said, how do you navigate this in this time where it seems like Black women are navigating for ourselves?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, if you want to come on the call, I can make you a panelist, so you can talk to Taylor. maybe. No, I don't know if you're still here.
Yeah.
No.
I would like to see your face at that.
Lissa, hello. Lissa.
Give me a second.
Oh, there she is.
Out of nowhere.
Also, this
That's
is
over. Sorry.
also, I'll say my other favorite thing about being the CEO of BWA is actually meeting Black female animators, because I get elated every time I meet another Black female animator. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know about you. I feel like I have a catalog in my brain, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know about you. Okay, now I do.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Okay, good. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, my question. I was like panic typing because I was like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? But what? Yeah, I'm just trying to see where I typed it. The question pretty much was, so I just graduated, and so something I noticed when I first went to school, I was pretty much like the only Black female in my classes. And so there were many a times where I had to be the Black input when it comes to many projects. And I didn't want to feel obligated to do that. Or it's like, if I wanted to put Black female artists in like a different out of the box role, I was questioned behind, like, in a roundabout way that, they're like, why would you make a Black female night? Stuff like that. And so it was a lot of, I guess it's called passive aggression. And so,
yeah.
And so my fear is, I guess for both of you in the industry, how to navigate that. And because there's this level of constantly clinching when you just want to, you're like, hey, I just want to do this, cool thing that you guys normally do. But I guess when I do it, it's like a whole big thing.
Yeah. It's Lissa, right?
Yes.
Okay, Lissa, thanks so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. And you articulated that experience perfectly. And as you're saying it, there's like 3 or 4 things that I experienced in college and in my early career that just passed around. And even that I experience now, because I'm a young, Black woman CEO in animation, and there aren't many, and actually if there's any other ones, there are a few globally, but I still experience this, and so my recommendation as you entered the workforce is to, one, like wherever you go, if it's a full-time role, especially in the current climate, like you can always have a conversation with your boss. And you said like the idea of us being like aggro, which is so real, but you can have a conversation with your boss and say, hey, I recognize that I'm the only Black woman for miles. No, you really should say, I recognize that I'm the only Black woman on our team or in our department. And I just want to have an open line, an honest line of communication with you about my experiences, because I know that you are committed to making sure that I have a great experience, and I want to make sure I'm able to deliver my best work. So I would really appreciate it if we, could have, regular check-ins with each other, and I could be very honest with you about my experiences, because I am dedicated to being on this team and I believe in this work. And again, just setting, you could take the route of like setting that up at the beginning and being very honest. If you're seeing that more than likely the case is going to be like you're the only Black woman or one of few, but that's a route you can take. But then when it comes to like coworker to coworker experience, and if you don't have a boss where you can have you don't feel comfortable having an open conversation like that, always start with a deep breath when those microaggressions hit you, just like a smell the roses type of moment, and take a breath and a beat before you respond. And I would say always trust your instinct creatively. You said, like, you know, you're on a project and said they were telling you a Black character couldn't do this. Like, there's room to push back on things, and be honest, and also just holding, like, you know, if you don't feel like it's the safest space, like really being aware of, I wish I could just talk to you offline longer about and share experiences. But yeah, I think it's really important in a coworker to coworker space to take a deep breath, and to just, you know, say, hey, you know, let's, if it's a group, be like, hey, try to pull that person to the side and talk about it. Or to say, hey, I wish that we could have communicated different. I wish that this conversation could have gone a different way. There's something that like, you can still adjust things, and it's unfortunate that you have to do it sometimes, but I think it's better to address things than let them pile up. Is that helpful for you? Because I could talk about this all day, to be honest. Like, I can get you my email, we could talk about it. But I really hope that's helpful for the people who are watching too. There's ways to, I think, address things, because the reality is you kind of have to stop them from continuing as best you can. I've been in situations in work where I didn't say anything for a while, and then it got so bad because I didn't communicate. So I think us knowing how to stand up for ourselves is just, it is a part of the experience.
Yeah, I most definitely, what you said helps a lot. But yeah, I feel like also just college experience has taught me how to navigate, I guess, your own space. And what you're doing is very powerful because, like you said, you might have to, at the end of the day, make your own table and get it almost custom, get it done yourself. And like, but for real, like, but yeah, the concern of being aggro, even though you're just probably passionate, or you're just like, hey, what you said was not right, or not okay, in the situation. And there's a whole, like you said, we can probably talk about it offline, but it's a whole deep foundational thing about that. But yeah, like, I'm pretty sure all the other Black female artists here is like, we have so much to offer. We offer just as much as any other artist out here, and maybe even more. But it's like, it feel like we're usually second banana because it's like, oh, she don't know no better. And I'm like, and that's the energy that I feel like you're trying to defeat by making it very prevalent. And I'm glad that it's more of you actually like.
What's up?
Oh, Alyssa, I think.
Yeah, you went on mute there.
Oh, can you
Can
there
you
you
hear
go.
me?
There you go. Sorry.
Hello?
Yep.
Oh, good,
Go
you're
ahead.
back.
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking too long. The internet says stop.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, thank you. For real, because, you know, it can be hard, especially in this time. And it can be even like, it's hard for, I feel like, focusing on Black men, but it is harder for Black women when you think about it. And it's so, it brings me so much anxiety to say that, but it's true.
Yeah. It is true. It is true. Black women we aren't as protected in general, and we're expected to be strong, and also it's the expectation that, you know, it's very sad that you have to think about how you are going to go into the workplace and course correct before anything happens, or when things happen, when that's really not your job. It's the job of your supervisor. But it becomes your job, and to be the person who wears the hat of everything Black and all the Black questions to go to you, like, that's not your job. They need to hire a consultant to tell them that. That's an entirely different job.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll, if it's encouraging, you know, I do consult, like, we do consult different studios and companies, one, on their content, and thinking about, like, you know, colorism, body image sizing, like all of that. But then also we're working with some other studios I'm being paid as a consultant to do this work that we're talking about. So I just hope that that trickles down. That way, like, you all don't have to, if you're working at a bigger studio, like, or anywhere, like, you don't have to be the person that's having these conversations, because you're not getting paid to have them. And so we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks, Melissa, and keep it up. You're right. Like, you're a dope artist. I know it. Keep it up, and don't stop. And definitely, please, like, get on our database and on our radar. I'd love to see your work.
For sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alyssa. That's a good question.
No problem.
Great thing. And you got another one?
Yeah, so we have one from Paige. So she was wanting to know if your group, Taylor, also works with illustrators and concept artists and just other people, I guess, within the realm of animation, or is it just like specifically animators?
Yep, absolutely. So we on our IP, and then we do development. We've done development for a couple of development pitches for a couple of kid shows that are currently in development. So yeah, we work with illustrators and biz dev artists. That's one of my favorite parts of the process. So I'm always trying to look up new, you know, biz dev artists to bring characters to life. So we do hire for that as well. Yeah.
And then Angela, did you already? You didn't ask a question already. For those who want to start initiatives where they live, aid women of color in their business or school or group, what advice would you give to them? Do you think?
Yes. Do it. Please. You know, BWA, we're scaling and growing, but it's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, we all, like, just how Rise Up is doing their thing, and you know, women, like, everybody's kind of doing their thing, and we're in conversation. It's important that we all, but like you individually, take responsibility in your community, and you become, you know, an advocate and a connector and a friend. And so then, you know, when we're working on the uprising in animation, I feel like, all together. And so if everybody's, you know, doing their pocket of work, that really supports that and happening. So my advice is to just get with the other animators that you know. If you don't know any, on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, wherever, like, do a call for people in your community, and, you know, we can all get together, but set up Zoom calls where people can hop on. If there is, you know, like, check and see if there's a women in animation chapter at your, you know, college or in your area. If there's not, you know, see if you could start one. If Rise Up has, you know, people in your area that you can connect with. If there is no group in your area and you can't find other people, you know, in your with your level of experience in your life bracket, if that's college or, you know, recently graduating from college, like, see if there's a professional that you can connect with that might be willing to be in a group with you, talking about animation, helping to cultivate your skills, and maybe they know another person. The BWA Studios really, you know, was and is a grassroots movement. What we're all doing here today is grassroots, and, like, we're all supporting each other and showing each other love. And so I think it's just really about that one-to-one connection, and it will grow from there. So even if you're like, oh my gosh, there's only 2 people in my group, that's great. There's 3 of you, you know, because the reality is so many people don't even know 3 Black women animators or 3 animators of color. Like, and these people work in the industry, and some of them are executives, and they don't even know. So the 3 people, there's so much power in y'all 3, and it will grow to 4 and 5. And then when it's just y'all three, you have the opportunity to create a culture together, and you get to think about, okay, what is our community going to be like? How are we going to support each other? You know, who are we going to build community with from there? But organizing is really, it is grassroots, because there is a lot of work that needs to be done in this industry. And we're going to get there. So we're going to get there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. So then Cynthia has a good question. So she wanted to know if you've ever encountered a problem with clients because of not being white. And she's wondering how it is in America with the racism, you know, affecting a company like BWA, and how is it at the beginning to get clients to trust you?
Yeah. And where's Cynthia in the world? Cynthia, where are you? I saw you type it in here. Let's see. I don't know if you see.
Canada.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, Cynthia, the Spark Animation Festival, but I've been a judge on it for the last couple of years. I really love Spark. That's a really great one. So I have not experienced racism, I think you asked, because with a client, because I'm not white. A part of that is because the name of the company is Black Women Animate. And so you kind of know what you're getting when you you kind of know what you're getting.
There's no surprise.
I'm a straight shooter, and so I was like, what's the most obvious thing I could do? Oh, okay. So no, I have not. And I would say in this time for us is really interesting, right? Because it hasn't been very hard for us to get work because we're in this pandemic uprising. So animation is really the only thing the industry can do, one. And then everybody is trying to look for ways to say that they've supported Black people or Black women. So people are coming to us because of that. Again, it's like, are their intentions pure or not? I have to make that decision and decide that. But yeah, like we are probably getting more, like we were talking about earlier, more inquiries because of the uprising. So that's interesting, and you know, my hope is that it just leads to us being able to hire more artists. Yeah, somebody put Carol Holiday in here. Yeah, I haven't met Carol yet, but I know about her. Yep.
Carol is a lovely person. She's great.
The legend.
Yeah. All right, so I have a really good one from Trisha Evans Latarot. Forgive me if I pronounce your last name wrong there, Trisha. But she's asking, being a Black British woman, I have unfortunately felt and experienced the negative side of being Black. How do you keep yourself mentally sane through everything despite being drained?
That is a great question also. Okay, I think meditation is important. Like having your rituals is really important. My rituals, I wash my face twice a day. It really just it grounds me. Even through all of any BS that comes my way, like during the day, and all of the craziness that's happening in the world to Black folks, and the microaggressions of you working in a space and them maybe not understanding what you're feeling fully and being insensitive to it. Yeah, I think ritual is important, community is important, and in the best ways that you can, like setting boundaries is important. And I know we have a lot of emerging talent on the call, and it's really hard to be like a young artist and person and set boundaries. But one thing that I'm really hoping that we get the opportunity to teach more at BWA as we try to like do more, you know, set up more ways for us to teach artists, like business acumen and industry acumen, is being really clear and honest with your communication, which is very important for you to thrive in any industry. And I think a part of it is just like knowing what you need. So spending time with yourself and being aware of like, okay, if this is my output, like this is what I need. So for me, you know, to run this company and like be writing a movie and you know, be consulting and all, like what I need is 8 hours of sleep. So I make sure that I get that. If I don't get that, nothing else can really happen because I don't have the juice I need for the day. So I think those rituals are super, super important. And having some non-negotiables around them is also really important because we're in such a crazy time. It's a frenzy, and you know, it's very hard to have non-negotiables, but it's important. I don't know, Angela and Bobby, do y'all have stuff that you do for yourself as artists, or just people that you're like, I have to, or you like, I just work all?
Angela?
Yeah, I do. So I take a 1 hour walk every day. And I
That's
try to
good.
go before noon because after noon it's like 100 degrees and it's boiling hot. But I go outside and I take a walk because it would be really easy to just sit at home and watch Netflix all day and not move, and that doesn't help anybody. So definitely taking a walk, trying to keep a regular work schedule too, which helps because, you know, I still have to go to work. So trying to keep a regular work schedule. Actually taking an hour for lunch. You know, we get an hour with work for lunch. I take that hour for lunch, even though I'm in my house. I take that hour to just call a friend or watch a movie or draw or just look out the window or whatever, you know. So it's just important just to try to keep things kind of balanced because it would be really easy to just like stay up, you know, because we're at home. And so that division between home and work, it'd be really easy for that to completely disappear. So I just try really hard to actually have like, I start my day at 9, I end my day at 6, I do other things.
Yeah, and binge and just look out the window and meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's this 5-minute meditation that's on YouTube. There's like many of them, and so when I get up and then bathroom and then like before I get to work, I just sit because my workstation is just kind of like looking out the window, and before I get anything started, I'll just try to read a little bit. And just kind of sit in my chair and just listen to this YouTube 5-minute meditation thing of this British guy talking about how I should breathe into my nose and comes out of my toes. And then I love it. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it makes all the difference in the world, and it changes the way that you go about your day, because I'm sure all our days are packed. But I mean, like just that little like 4 or 5 minutes thing. I don't know what you do, Tay. Just kind of like, do you meditate in the morning for a little bit? Do you do a little bit of yogs?
Do a little yogs. So like I said, honestly, washing my face is my like non-negotiable. This has to happen thing, and also eating. Like I don't skip meals. Like I eat. Like I have to eat. Those are my non-negotiables. And then meditation, yes. I haven't been that consistent lately. With doing something like I think the 5-minute meditations are great, like 5 to 15. So I do consistently breathe though, and breathe deeply. But I make sure I eat 3 meals a day. Like I drink water. Like that's really important to me.
In quarantine, you're keeping healthy.
Yes, I'm working on it. Working on it. Working on it. Trying to ride the bike, all of that fun stuff.
Oh yeah. Try and ride the bike around the city.
Ride the bike. Yeah, with my mask on. But
I mean, like, I mean, that's a big thing too. Of like all that we're going through, like even in the main topic of just kind of like Black women animate. Like, how is your team? Okay, how's your team doing?
Yeah. Our team's doing pretty well considering. I mean, we are, you know, a small and nimble but growing studio. So we were actually working virtually before, so that isn't really different for us. It's just
Yeah.
not really having the opportunity to like connect so much together, and having to figure that out over Zoom is interesting. And also, like, as we bring in new people,
Yep.
which we're doing a lot of now, really trying to get them to get a sense of the culture without being able to really, like, connect. So it's happening, and we're doing pretty well at it. But yeah, it's an interesting time. Our teams are pretty busy right now, because of the need for information.
That's good.
Which is a good, it's a good thing. And so yeah, I'm actually looking to make some more hires, because I'm like, our team needs some more support.
Oh.
Yeah, so that is good. And just
how can people apply to Black Women Anime if they're
yes. So I'm actually hiring a senior production manager right now. If you all can apply at studio at bwastudios.com. Let me just drop that in here.
Drop it in the
Cool. And then I'm gonna put it on some job servers, and we'll probably put feelers out. But that would be like for commercial and shorter animation projects.
Cool.
So that's good for me. For me though, I just really am trying to make sure I'm paying attention to people's emotional and physical well-being, their families, because this is such a crazy time again, and just dealing with the revolution that's happening, because of the continued attack on Black lives, and also the pandemic. Just really trying to make sure I read between the lines with my folks, and make sure like they're doing okay as well.
Are they doing okay?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, everybody for the most part is safe and healthy. Thank God. And the work, I think, provides like a good distraction, because we're doing a lot of political ads, and a
This
lot
week has
of
been tough, man.
huh?
This week is tough.
Yeah. This week.
I will save my comments for how I feel about this week.
No, it's okay, Angela. You can say whatever you want.
No, this is a family show. But
It's not a family show. Disney does not. Disney does not. Disney does not.
no, this is why we fight. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, I look at this week and go, and this is why we're fighting, and this is exactly why things need to change, and this is why we need to support Black women and Black men, and people of all colors and all races and all genders and every kind of thing, because of this week. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a crazy time, and I think I'm just so happy to be in conversation with you all, and everybody on the call talking, because art is so important to our activism. And I really believe deeply that my purpose is to build equity in the entertainment industry for Black women, because when Black women rise, like, all people can then rise. And so Black women anime for me is a labor of love, and the understanding that there is so, like, Black women have the beyond the capacity to be in the animation industry, and to make waves, and change the quality and scope of the art by just being there. And so really, if we keep using our art as activism, like, we have the ability to make waves, and that's what we're all doing by even being on this call. So I just want to say thanks again, Bobby, for having me. Thank you, Angela, for having me.
Yeah.
This has been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on board, and thank you for sharing your mission statements and what you want to do in your career and everything else. And Angela, for sure. I mean, I feel like just great to be a fly on the wall. But is there any? It sounds like you need to go, Ate, but like any sort of closing statements that you guys want to make, or Faye, or like Angela, or what do you guys think? In lieu of, I know we ended on a heavy subject, but I think that heavy subject is important to talk about. You know, in topical. So, I mean, Ange, we're not sponsored by any like studio like Disney or
But
it's completely independent. So if you want
Yeah.
to say anything or something like that, but I will say that this week has been fucked up. Just kind of like everything that we're seeing in the news. I mean, especially, yeah, I don't even know how to phrase it to put it delicately, but I will say that you know, this all of it is just reprehensible. All of us know that, right? So how do we deal with that as artists, you know, in LA in animation? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you guys can help me, but what do you think, Andy?
So we help each other. That's what you do. You know, as artists, we create the narratives, we create the stories, like what Taylor was talking about. Like I know what you said earlier, Bobby. Like we tell our stories. We have a voice. I just want to go back to Alyssa's question. Like it is hard if you're the only Black woman in the room, if you're the only Black person in a room, but you have a voice, you have a right to be there. You have more, trust me, you have more than earned your spot to be here, to be in school, to be going to school, to be out of school, wherever you're at. So just keep pushing. And, you know, honestly, it's not fair how much we have to fight and have to push, but we can do this. And just know you're not alone. Even if you're the only Black person in your class or at your job or on your show, there are other people out there that will help you. And there are allies that will help you. There are people that genuinely care, that want to help. And so we just have, it's just a means of it. This is why I love BWA. You just have to find those people. You have to find those people. You have to connect with those people either in person or on the internet, because the more of us that speak up, the better it's going to be for all of us, everything that we're doing.
yeah, just snaps to everything. Snaps to everything Angela just said. And I'll say, you know, just knowing that when you walk into a room, like it's not just you. There are people behind you that you can't see. Like those people are your ancestors. Those people are every single person that's ever encouraged you, every person that has ever said like I believe in you. Like anytime you go into a room, all of those people are with you, and so you are protected. And you know, you are always like knowing that you are worthy, you are valuable, your art is worthy and your art is valuable, like knowing that always and holding that frame whenever challenges come. I have those challenges, I have challenges daily, and that's important really for me to always be reminded. And that's what I remind all of the artists that I work with. So you know, again, like it's just really, I'm happy to thanks to everybody that's saying thank you in the chat. I appreciate y'all's time and energy. Like everybody's been so attentive, and thank you. And I guess the last thing that I just want to say is, because I saw some stuff, let me see, about the boot camp. The boot camp is, since it's going to be virtual, it's going to be online, and you can find it online. We'll and then probably in the next few weeks be able to say where it's going to stream. We are partnering with Cartoon Network on it again, and it's going to be free, of course. So it's going to be free, which I'm super excited about. So everybody will have the opportunity to access it. And I know there's a bunch of different people in the group, just so you know, like it's not, the content is not exclusive to Black women. We're just a company that puts Black women first. So everybody will have the opportunity to learn and grow from the workshops, the panels, and we have a special surprise at the end of it. And so the last couple years has been 1 day. This year it's going to be 2 days with a special event at the end. So yeah, thanks. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks Alexander. I feel great. And honestly, Bobby, I can, if anybody has like a comment or anything, I can say for a couple of comments if folks had things they wanted to say. Kind of open up the floor.
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, that would be great because we didn't get to go to all the questions.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
I just wanted to say, thank y'all. Taylor, thank you for doing Black Women to Animate. Bobby, thank you again just for setting this up. It has been a very hard week for me personally. Just seeing the stuff going on and looking at my own kids and stuff like that, just putting stuff into perspective. So just y'all taking the time out on Thursday to get back to normal, kind of, because it's just all over the news, so on and so forth, and kind of put things in perspective. And I was talking to my students about it today too, and they was looking at me kind of crazy. I got kind of emotional more than I wanted to. I just wanted to say, yeah, thank y'all for definitely taking the time out and sharing with us. And hopefully some Black men will step up and do something similar to you as far as an auxiliary group to kind of get people exposure, as well as rise up animation and stuff. So again, just thank y'all. I don't know why I'm getting all emotional right now. I think it's because I'm thinking about it.
Really quick, Alex, you want to give a little bit of background? Like me and Alex we did a feedback session together, but like Alex is switching careers.
Yeah, so I've been teaching for 13 years. I've been teaching art, and I've always had a passion for animation. It was something that I kind of missed out on because I didn't have the resources when I was in college to get to some internships. And it's kind of turned its head on me a little bit. So I'm just going to walk away from teaching and kind of pursue it kind of full blast and stuff. So I'm just trying to do a lot of reteaching and redrawing and learning animation, kind of learn everything again from scratch to create portfolio, so on and so forth. So I'm excited, definitely nervous, but excited and encouraged. So just listening to y'all talk and me feeling like I'm way older than everybody else, from a lot of people coming straight out of college, going into animation. And I've been in the professional field and dealt with racism and implicit bias and been a part of equity groups, and the stuff still doesn't change. So definitely want to get the voice out of people of color. So again, thank y'all again. Sorry I was long-winded.
No.
Alex, that's great. Thank you.
No, thank you so much, Alex, so much for sharing. And thank you for pursuing your dream. Oh, thank you so much, because there's so much that goes against us and tells us that we can or we shouldn't, or we just don't have the opportunity to. And so just so you know, like at our boot camp and other things that we do, there's a lot of people who have been professionals who for a while who are like, oh, I want to transition into animation now, or I've been doing something else as an artist. And I want to learn how to write for animation, and I want to, like, you are not the only one, and it's so powerful that you are, it's just so powerful that you're doing it now, because you're just shifting what's possible for so many people, because somebody's gonna see you as an animator and be like, oh, Alex Chisley, like, his art, it really resonates to me. That's why I want to be an animator. That's just how it works. And it really does. It really is going to change things for so many people, because you're deciding to live your dream and your passion. So just thank you for being you and doing you, because it really does matter.
Oh, thank y'all.
Yeah, and Alex, I just want to say too, I had a whole other career for a decade prior to getting into animation. So trust me, you can totally do this. You are not the only one. There are other people that did not go straight from college. So just echoing what Taylor said, good on you, man. Like, you can totally do this.
All right, and thank y'all again. And everybody that's in here, man, the power of stories is so important. And I just feel like I think that that's kind of what's missing in our society, that we don't tell our stories enough. And I just believe that, like, if you get the opportunity to just share your story, it changes so much. That's kind of my mission and goal. And yeah, thank y'all again for listening, and y'all be blessed. And thank you for sharing some time with us tonight.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I love Alex. Alex, don't go away. How he went. Let's see. So, what do you think? What do you think, Angela? Bisola Sosan says, hi all. Taylor, could you share some of your favorite cases of connecting an artist, animator with a client? Missing the DWA crew this year. I feel like you know her.
You said missing. I think I do know Basola.
Bisola Sosan?
Basola, did we go to college together? I wonder if my favorite instances of connecting. Basola we talked together. And then Basola was at the boot camp last year. Basola is a writer, which is so dope. Basola, you're a writer, right? But my favorite instances of connecting to opportunity. So we are actually our director of brands and music videos. I'm so like we're really working with her more and more, and I'm really excited. I'm always really excited to show her work to clients because she's just so dope, such a great artist, motion designer, and like just motion graphics expert. She's like super young, and she's already won like 3 Emmys for her work. She's amazing. Not that winning Emmys means that you are any more amazing than anyone else, but I just love her passion for her work. And I love, how our brains creatively link, because we do a lot of the commercial projects that we have, like for Foot Locker and different companies. We do that together. And so yeah, connecting her as like the lead artist on a lot of projects is always really exciting for me. And whenever we have a client, like we're doing storyboards for a company or for a show, or we are selecting, I think people ask about visual development artists and stuff. Whenever I can, find the right artist to fit that client's needs, I always feel really great. And whenever that artist is passionate about the project and they're like, oh, I'm interested in this, that feels really great too. Because sometimes we do take work that we're not passionate about. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. And then the boot camp is not, I see this boot camp's not competitive to get into. This year it's going to be free. So we're trying to figure out how it can be broadcast to as many people as possible. But we're working out just like where it's going to be hosted, so it can live somewhere and people can have access to it after it actually happens in November.
How do we apply for the boot camp?
How do we apply? We'll definitely let you all know, because we're still, we're figuring out this virtual world. We're not sure if we're actually going to even do applications, since this is going to be open to everyone. We might just we more than likely would just have some type of like sign up thing. It's not an application. It's just so we have your information. Sure. Can contact you and things like that. So yeah, it most likely won't be an application this year. The reason we did applications in the past was because we only had so many seats. But if we could house everyone, I would have loved to do that. So virtually we can house everyone. So we're just figuring out what that'll look like, but there will be a website that you all can click on and stuff. And I'm sure Rise Up will post something about it or put in their stories on Instagram or Twitter. and we're just bwastudios.com
Mhm.
if you want to find it. And then let's see what else is there.
Well, all right. I mean, like, what do we have? You guys want any to answer any of these questions in the Q&A?
I think this for Lissa, I think this question of why Black women animate and not Black entirely is a great question and really important. So again, as we talked about, you know, Black women being the least protected, and honestly, from what I saw in animation, the least visible. It was really important to me to be extra clear about what our goal and aim was, and our goal is to build equity for Black women specifically because I am a Black woman, and that's the lived experience that I have, and that's the experience that I know. And that's why I'm able to cater to Black women so well. And it's almost 11 o'clock here, so my brain is like,
Oh no, it's fine.
my brain is like, Taylor, we don't have that thought.
Yeah.
And then you know, for me, is to lift up again, like the name is to lift up Black women, not to exclude Black men at all. This is inclusive, of course, of Black, trans, and non-binary folks. Not to exclude anyone, but to say like we are lifting up Black women and making us in animation, making us visible. And so that is the key and the reason. We do hire Black men, we do hire people of color, we do work with white folks, but the goal is to, because, you know, I don't know if y'all saw like the USC Annenberg study about women in animation, but the numbers are dismal of women of color, and then there aren't even really full-on stats about Black women on major productions. So that is the why. We do have, you know, it's great that we do have a lot more Black men in, you know, notable positions, and there's a lot more that we can rattle off the tongue. So the goal in having a BWA is that, you know, Black women can be lifted up, because I think a lot of people, when they look at our name, they ask themselves like, oh wait, do I actually know a Black female animator personally or at all? And it's like, oh, actually, no, I don't. And so that's why it's really important.
Right. So hopefully, all of us, Tay and Angela, like black men and POC men, can support you guys in any way that we could. So I'm hoping that we don't give a shit about statistics of like where we stand, but we want to amplify your voices. So that's I think that's the biggest part of like this whole like movement. So yeah, I don't care about my I don't care about my like where I stand in statistics. I couldn't give a shit. What I do care about is female female voices and female voices of color being represented. That's what I care about, and I don't give a shit about like anything that we have perpetuated for the last 100 years. So it doesn't matter. But I will say that I wanted to ask you, ladies, what are you thinking moving forward, Taylor and Angela? You know, we're in troubled times. We're in fucking quarantine. We're in a weird racist divide and political divide. Do you even think about like the way moving forward animation wise, or are you kind of like animation? Who cares? Like at this point, like where's your minds at?
Yeah, Angela, do you want to title that
Yeah,
one?
so I'll kick that off. So I care a lot, and I've cared a lot for a very long time. It's the reason why I decided to get into this industry, because for me growing up, I saw no Black people in animation. And I remember thinking, okay, well, at least then I'll talk to the white folks about animation. But then all of the people that were white that I admired, I then found out were dead. So, you know, like Disney and Jim Henson and Chuck Jones and whatnot, and realized, oh, okay, I can't even ask these people because they're no longer alive. And so for me as a kid, I decided, all right, I will be the Black Disney, and then I will get into animation. And then I will help all the other little Black girls and boys get into animation, and it'll be great. I'll be like the George Washington Carver or the Martin Luther King of animation. This sounds good. And so for me, it matters a lot. And Taylor said this, Bobby, you've said this, everyone in Rise Up has said this, everybody, I feel like the world over has said this. The importance of representation cannot be underestimated. It is so important to see yourself, and not only see yourself, but see yourself reflected accurately and realistically in a way that speaks to you and your experiences and your family and where you lived and how you grew up. And so it matters a lot. And what makes me happy is that other people now care. Because for the longest time I felt like, well, Black people clearly care and Black women clearly care. Does anybody else care? And I feel like we're finally getting to the moment where other people care about representation, about different groups, and they're looking at their shows and their showrunners and their writing teams and their design teams and their production teams and going, why do we only have one Black person here? Why are there no Black people here? Or why are there no Filipino people here? Or Japanese people? Or Latinx people? Or gay people? Why is it only
Why are we all
cisgender white people? Like, why? You know, and they're realizing this is a problem. So it matters a lot. And I feel like we have to do our part. You know, we have to help students. We have to help the people that are already working. We have to help students get in. We need to reach out to different schools and different spaces where maybe recruitment hasn't gone, because that's a big deal too. If you're just going to the same places all the time, there's so many different things that need to change, but I want to change it. And that is why I'm in it. Like I would love when I become like a 92-year-old grandmother for my great grandchildren to be like, what do you mean there didn't used to be tons of Black people in cartoons? That's crazy. Like I would love for them to say that. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome. Angela.
drop mic? I think Angela completely nailed it. Completely nailed it. Like, we are in a crazy time, but our kids are still watching TV. Everybody's still looking to be entertained and just turning on the TV. And when that's happening, what is available? Like, what is available? And so, it's hard as artists because, you want your work to have, especially in a moment like this, if you're making something, you're like, I want it to have impact. I want it to, but just like your why, Bobby, for you being an artist and in the industry, and Angela, for you also, for myself, for everybody on the call, like, it makes a difference and it is a shift. It might take more time to see it and it might not be immediate, but change typically isn't. We are in a time of super rapid change, but it's a buildup from, people have been doing this work for a long time. And it continues, and the struggle is going to continue on. And so art has a really special place in that. And it will. And I think a lot of the stuff that's going to be created and that we're creating in this time is going to speak to this moment. And people are going to appreciate the work that we're all, deciding to do right now. So, this week I've been using the term slow burn. I'm like, it's a slow burn.
Yeah.
But then you wake up and it's like, oh snap, we're here. Like, we arrived. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's awesome. The slow burn is legit. Waking up to that, everything the news has to tell us, and trying to press on. But Taylor, thank you for coming by. Angela, thank you for co-hosting and taking everyone's questions, going 30 minutes beyond what I asked you, what we had asked before, but we really appreciate it. I think this was for me, an important conversation to have, a meaning conversation for people to hear. Really, really. We have a big audience with Rise Up Animation, and whether, Angela knows our mission is to amplify, people of color and their voices and help them rise up in the animation community. And so, Tay, I feel like with Black Women Animate, it's the exact same mission. I mean, kind of like exact same, and the thing I admire, I will say this, I don't know if I had a chance to say this before, Tay, but I really admire how you're just committed to the younger generation. You're like every interview I've heard you talk at, like you're encouraging, you're like, this guys, the future is in your hands, and if this industry is going to see a change, it's because of you guys. And so you are invested in the next generation of aspiring artists, as we are, and Angela and myself, and in Rise Up Animation. So that's a big thing, beyond all of the cultural stuff, but just investing in young artists, right? So I mean, Tay, if you have anything, or Angela, I don't want to, my words being the closing words, but like, we can go around, and if you guys want to like close out and just say, a bit to everyone watching, the aspiring artists watching from around the world, and that'd be cool.
Yeah. I'll say as we close out, my kind of word that I want to offer is just proud. Like, I'm really proud of every artist that's on this call, whether you're starting out or you've been in the industry for a while. I'm really proud because it takes something to, make it as an artist. And what I mean by make it is just to be able to do your art, and to survive as an artist, and not burn out, in a world that doesn't always appreciate it so quickly or so fast. So the word I want to offer is proud, and I'm really honored to be in conversation with all of you with Rise Up, because this is the work, and yeah, I'm excited to see what comes out of all of the folks that are on this call. And if you want to stay connected, I would love to. We are just at BWA Studios _, and then I am just at Taylor K. Shaw. So, I'm open to like any questions, comments, or, if you want to share. And then I'm just Taylor at bwastudios.com. So thanks everybody. And the word I want to offer is proud. I'm really proud.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Taylor.
All right.
Yeah, I guess I just want to say, we're here for you guys. If you're a person of color, join up with Taylor. Join what she's doing, Black Women Animate, or join Rise Up Animation. And if you're not a person of color, be an ally. We all need to work together to make things change. So all of us can play a part. All of us have something that we can do. So, we're not alone in this.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you guys so much for attending. Taylor, Angie, man, this was a privilege and an honor. You guys are both queens, and I am but a mere fly on the wall.
Bobby, you helped put this entire organization together. Give us some more credit. I'm giving you more credit here.
I am like a fly on the wall. But Taylor, it's great to meet you, and really, really honored to speak with you. And Angie, great to catch up with you. And you are like one of my favorite people and one of my favorite mentors at Rise Up. So thank you for agreeing to do this, everybody. Taylor, I know it's like 4 o'clock in the morning over there, but Taylor, have some pizza down the street, because that's what I would do. And it's great to meet you. Great to catch up, and we need to do this again, guys. So
Yeah, we do. I would love to.
Mhm.
thank you so much, and thank you everybody for coming. We know it's a little bit last minute, but thank you everybody that came from like Egypt and around the world. So we appreciate it. This is fantastic.
Woo, yeah, I would love to do it again soon. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
There's no limit to the conversation. It's great.
No limit to the conversation. Yeah. We can just play Settlers of Catan at some point. Yeah. And everybody will leave. But thank you so much, Taylor. Thank you so much, Angela. And have a great night. Best wishes to you guys. I know you that well, but I love you guys, and thank you for being a part of this. So thank you for sharing your wealth and knowledge and inspiration. So we appreciate
Yeah,
it.
love you too, Bobby. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Take care, everybody.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.